Good morning, everybody. Last lecture we began in chapter 27, which is aggregate demand in the goods and money market. We talked about the equilibrium in both goods and money markets, and today we are going to talk about policy effects. Policy effects in goods and money markets. We are going to talk about fiscal policy and monetary policy. Then we are going to talk about macroeconomic policy mix. Next lecture, inshallah, it will be the last lecture in this term, and we are going to talk about aggregate demand curve. Okay, ready to begin? Our lecture today is about policy effect. Policy effects in both goods market and money market. Talking about policy effect, we are going to talk about fiscal policy and monetary policy. At each policy, we are going to talk about expansionary policy and contractionary policy. Let's begin with expansionary policy. Expansionary policy سياسة توسعية. Okay, we have to know the aim of any expansionary policy. Expansionary policy, its aim is to increase aggregate income, to increase aggregate output. So, if the policy can increase aggregate output, we say that it's effective, it's efficient policy. If it couldn't increase aggregate income, so we can say that it's ineffective or inefficient policy. تمام؟ يبقى كلمة expansionary policy this is the policy which aim to increase aggregate income. Okay? Whether it's fiscal policy or it's monetary policy. طبعا عارفين fiscal policy دي سياسة مالية. monetary policy سياسة نقدية. Okay. So the first type of policy is expansionary policy, whether fiscal or monetary, and their aim is to increase aggregate income. Second type of policy is contractionary policy. Contractionary سياسة انكماشية من اسمها انكماشية. So its aim is to decrease aggregate output or aggregate income. So whether it's contractionary fiscal policy or contractionary monetary policy, their aim is to decrease income. If the policy can decrease aggregate income, so it's efficient policy or it's effective policy. If the policy couldn't decrease aggregate income, so it's inefficient or ineffective policy. خلاص عرفنا؟ Okay. Let's talk about each policy in detail. And let's begin with fiscal policy. السياسة المالية. The tools of fiscal policy are government spending and taxes. يبقى كل سياسة لها tools. لازم تبقى مركز فيهم. حاجات or tools بتحرك السياسة دي. The tools of fiscal policy are government spending and taxes, net taxes. Okay. Expansionary fiscal policy means the government can increase government spending or decrease taxes. طبعا of course it can increase government spending and decrease taxes at the same time. Type. Third, it can increase government spending and taxes together. ليه بتعمل كده؟ To finance the increase in government spending by the increase in taxes. طب ازاي الافكت بتاع الكلام ده expansionary؟ An increase in government spending will increase output. An increase in taxes will decrease output. Yes. The expansionary policy or the expansionary effect because of the difference between the effect of government spending and the effect of taxes. عارفين ان government spending is more effective than taxes. فاكرين ال balanced budget multiplier؟ أكيد فاكرين. Okay, so if the government can increase G and T with the same amount, this will be expansionary policy and will increase aggregate output. Okay. On the other side, contractionary policy، سياسة انكماشية. معناها ايه او هنعمل ايه عشان نعمل contractionary policy؟ the government can decrease government spending، ده أول option، or it can increase taxes net taxes or it can decrease past government spending and taxes. Okay, so expansionary fiscal policy, this is an increase in government spending or decrease in net taxes aimed at increasing aggregate output. So what's the meaning of crowding out effect? Crowding out effect ده أثر المزاحمة. This is the effect of the government spending on private investment. يعني ايه؟ an increase in government spending decreases private investment. ازاي بيحصل كده؟ an increase in government spending increase aggregate expenditure which will increase demand for increase income, which will increase demand for money. An increase in demand for money should increase interest rate which will decrease private investment. معايا؟ So an increase in government spending will increase aggregate expenditure. This will increase income. But we know from last lecture that an increase in income will increase demand for money. This will increase interest rate which will decrease investment. So an increase in government spending causes a decrease in private investment. Okay, so how much decrease in private investment because of an increase in government spending? This is the crowding out effect. خلاص، يبقى قد ايه الاستثمار الحكومي هيزاحم الاستثمار الخاص، هيؤدي لانخفاض الاستثمار الخاص. This is the crowding out effect which is very important and we would like to talk about. يبقى therefore an increase in G causes a decrease in private investment. Income still rises, but the multiplier effect of the rise in G is lessened because of the higher interest rates negative effect on planned investment. So let's illustrate the effect of crowding out on the graph. Let's begin from the equilibrium when the 45-degree line, which is the income line, intersects the aggregate expenditure function 1. So the aggregate output will be determined. It's Y naught. Now let's assume that the government performs expansionary fiscal policy or an increase in G. An increase in G will shift the aggregate expenditure function upward from aggregate expenditure 1 to aggregate expenditure 2. So now the equilibrium income will be Y1. So an increase in G will increase Y. Delta Y equal delta G times the effect of multiplier 1 over marginal propensity to save. So delta Y will increase more than the increase in G by the effect of multiplier. طيب تعالوا نشوف بقى الeffect of crowding out. Okay, when there is an increase in G, as we said last slide, there is an increase in aggregate expenditure. This will increase Y. Well, an increase in Y will increase demand for money, which will increase interest rate. An increase in interest rate will decrease investment. So investment will decrease, which means that aggregate expenditure function 2 will decrease. It shifts downward to aggregate expenditure 3. معايا؟ So we have another equilibrium point, another equilibrium output at Y star. Okay, so finally Y will increase from Y naught to Y star, not Y1. Okay, so the crowding out effect will decrease income from y1 to y star. So the final effect of the increase in G from y0 to y star, not from y0 to y1. ليه؟ Because of the crowding out effect. So an increase in government spending G from G0 to G1 shifts the planned aggregate expenditure schedule from 1 to 2. The crowding out effect of the decrease in planned investment then shifts the planned aggregate expenditure schedule from 2 to 3. Okay, يبقى because of the crowding out effect, the final effect of aggregate expenditure decrease on y will decrease from y0 to y1 خلاص في الأول before the crowding out effect into y0 to y star. يبقى ال crowding out effect decreases equilibrium income from y1 to y star. واضحة؟ طيب let's talk a little bit about the size of crowding out effect and size of government spending multiplier. Actually this point talks about when the crowding out effect will be big or small. خلاص؟ Which factors will affect the size of crowding out effect. طيب look at the crowding out effect كده. look at channels, different channels. An increase in G تاني will increase aggregate expenditure, which will increase income. This will increase demand for money. So interest rate will increase. This will decrease investment. So the first channel خلاص أو the first factor will affect the crowding out effect, an increase in interest rate because of an increase in demand of money. طيب if the government or if the central bank decides to increase the supply of money to accommodate the increase of demand for money, interest rate will still constant. صح؟ الرسمة دي رسمناها المرة اللي فاتت، هرسمها تاني دلوقتي بس افتكر كده. if there is an increase in demand for money associated with an increase in supply of money, the interest rate will be the same or constant. In this case, interest rate will not decrease. So the crowding out effect will be zero. There will not be a crowding out effect. يبقى امتى بقى؟ if the central bank expanded the quantity of money supplied to accommodate the increase in G. In this case, the higher demand for money would be satisfied with a higher quantity of money supplied, and the interest rate would not rise. Therefore, there would be no crowding out, and the multiplier would be larger. Okay? يبقى y will increase by the full effect of multiplier. In this case, y will increase, or change of y will equal change of g times 1 over marginal propensity to save. مفيش بعد كده crowding out effect، مش هتقل تاني. ليه؟ علشان an increase of y increase of demand for money accommodated by increase in supply of money. So interest rate would be constant. So أو مش هتتغير، وبالتالي الايه investment will not change. واضحة؟ تعالوا بصوا معايا كده علشان ايه موضوعي ايه. This is the supply of money, demand for money. So this is the first interest rate. If demand for money increases because of an increase in y، بص معايا كده منطقي جدا ان الانترست ريت يحصل لها ايه؟ to increase from R1 to R2. If this has happened, if لو احنا وقفنا عند هنا ايه اللي هيحصل؟ investment should decrease. خلاص، وبالتالي y should decrease after that. لكن if the central bank decides to increase money supply to accommodate the effect of money demand، بصوا كده معايا ايه اللي حصل. interest rate return again as a new equilibrium اللي هو لما money supply to intersects money demand to interest rate will return again to R1. So wouldn't be an increase in interest rate, so investment will be constant. So no crowding out effect in this case. خلاص، يبقى ده أول factor will affect the crowding out. تاني بقى factor، بص معايا بقى، the second channel the relationship between interest rate and investment. طيب G increases, aggregate expenditure will increase, Y will increase, this will increase demand for money, and interest rate increases. An increase in interest rate may not affect investment. إمتى؟ If the investment function is perfectly inelastic to change in interest rate, perfectly insensitive to the change in interest rate. يعني investment ما بيتأثرش نهائي بالإيه؟ بالinterest rate. In this case there will not be crowding out effect. However, G increases will not affect private investment. يبقى if the investment function is sensitive, if it's sensitive ده بيقلل الايه؟ الكراود ده بيعمل ايه؟ if it's sensitive ده بيزود الايه؟ الكراودنج اوت افكت. if it's insensitive خالص ما بتستجبش خالص يبقى ده ايه؟ مش هيبقى فيه crowding out effect خالص. يبقى the crowding out effect depends on the sensitivity or insensitivity اللي هي sensitivity elasticity or insensitivity of planned investment spending to change in interest rate. Crowding out occurs because a higher interest rate reduces planned investment spending. If planned investment does not fall يعني does not respond when the interest rate rises, so there is no crowding out effect. مفيش sensitivity خلاص، يبقى دي حاجة كويسة بالنسبة لنا، مفيش crowding out effect، يبقى Y will increase by the full multiplier effect. بص كده معايا، let's compare between sensitive interest rate sensitive investment function. طبعا احنا شايفينها دي ايه؟ sensitive ولا لا؟ elastic ولا لا؟ elastic. فاكرين elasticity in the first term؟ this is elastic investment function عشان نلاقيها it's flatter, its slope is small، معناها ان هي ايه؟ it's elastic or sensitive to change in interest rate. معايا بقى واحدة تانية، this is sensitive. This investment function is a steep slope or insensitive to change in interest rate. Okay, واضحة؟ this is the initial interest rate عند investment I note. Now let's assume that interest rate increases from R1 to R2. بص بقى كده ايه الافكت؟ the effect of an increase in the same increase in interest rate. هشوف its effect on investment on elastic investment and on elastic investment function. نشوف مين فيهم هيتأثر أكتر معايا. The same increase in interest rate will decrease investment by very small effect on the insensitive investment function, but with very big effect on the sensitive or elastic investment function. Okay? أنا لو أنا عندي inelastic or insensitive investment function زي الايه الخط الأحمر، زي red investment function، بلاقيها ايه؟ بلاقي decrease in investment the response of investment to an increase in interest rate is very small. Okay, وبالتالي ال crowding out effect will be very small. If the investment function is sensitive, if it's elastic, if it's flatter, it's a slope small. Okay, ده معناه ان ال response to the same increase in interest rate will be very big. وبالتالي ال crowding out effect will be very big and so on. خلاص معايا؟ يبقى ال crowding out effect will be small in two cases. The first one, if the central bank decided to increase the money supply to accommodate the increase in money demand. في الحالة دي ال crowding out effect هنقلله خالص أو هيبقى زيرو. تاني case, the second case, if the investment function is insensitive, inelastic to interest rate. So however interest rate increases, investment will decrease very little or very by very small amount. So the crowding out effect will be small. Okay. ده اسمه ايه؟ interest sensitivity of planned investment. Means that I change a great deal in response to change in R. Interest insensitivity of planned investment means little or no change in I as a result of change in R. Effect of an expansionary fiscal policy, an increase in G will increase Y, increase demand for money, which will increase interest rate, decrease Y, and finally decrease Y. لكن طبعا كده محدش يقول لي Y will increase and decrease خلاص مفيش effect على Y. لا طبعا الإفكت الأولاني أقوى بكتير من التاني. الفكرة بس إن Y will increases هتزيد بس أقل من الزيادة اللي كانت هتزيدها لو ما كانش فيه أصلا الإيه ال increase in interest rate. Okay. طيب second type of policy of fiscal policy which is contractionary fiscal policy as we said before سياسة انكماشية and its aim is to decrease output, decrease income. هي هدفها تقلل الانكم. اوكي يبقى انا لما الانكم يقل ده مش حاجة وحشة، لا ده كده معناه ان السياسة مالها effective or efficient. A decrease in government spending or an increase in taxes aimed at decreasing government decreasing aggregate income or aggregate output. So decrease in G will decrease Y. A decrease in Y will decrease demand for money, which will decrease interest rate, which will increase investment, which will increase Y. Again, the increase الأخير في Y لا should be less than the decrease in Y. يبقى finally Y will decrease صح؟ لكن Y decreases less than its decrease if R did not decrease. يبقى لو R أصلا ما اتغيرتش ما قلتش a decrease in Y will be more than a final decrease in Y if R changes. خلاص؟ طيب let's talk about the second policy which is monetary policy. يبقى we talked about fiscal policy, expansionary fiscal policy and contractionary fiscal policy. وعرفنا ان fiscal policy its tools are G and T. خلاص؟ change in government spending, change in net taxes. طيب let's talk about monetary policy. The tools of monetary policy is money supply and interest rate. اوكي ممكن نقول money supply بس على اعتبار an increase in money supply decreases interest rate, a decrease in money supply increases interest rate. كأنهم حاجة واحدة او نتكلم عنهم على انهم ايه two tools براحتك، بس تبقى فاهم ان الماني سبلاي هو اللي بيأفكت الايه الانترست ريت. يبقى expansionary policy اللي هي ايه؟ its aim is to increase aggregate output. that its tools an increase in money supply or decrease in interest rate. contractionary policy a decrease in money supply or an increase in interest rate. okay, طيب let's look first at expansionary monetary policy. an increase in money supply aimed at increasing aggregate output. first معايا بقى نركز كده. an increase in money supply، طبعا في دماغك الايه؟ في دماغك الرسمه بتاعت الماني سبلاي والماني ديماند. an increase in money supply هيعمل ايه؟ will decrease interest rate. اوكي a decrease in interest rate هيعمل ايه؟ will increase investment. increase in investment will increase aggregate expenditure. okay, which means increased output as firms react to unplanned decrease in inventories. increase in income هيعمل ايه؟ will increase demand for money, which will increase interest rate and decrease investment again. يبقى an increase in money supply will decrease interest rate. خلاص، ده أول effect كبير. a decrease in interest rate will increase investment, which will increase why? an increase in income will increase money demand. خلاص، so interest rate will increase. محدش يقولي طب interest rate decrease وبعدين increase خلاص ما بقتش تتغيرش. لأ، دايما أول effect بيبقى أكبر بكتير من التاني. يبقى finally interest rate will decrease. خلاص، متأكدين إن interest rate أكيد هتبقى decrease. but are decreases less than its decrease if money demand did not increase. يبقى لو ما كانتش الماني ديماند زادت كان زمان الديكريز ان ار اكبر من its decrease now. خلاص، monetary policy can be effective only. لما انا اقول can be effective وقف، تفهم انت ايه بقى كده؟ can be effective يعني تقدر ان هي قدرت ان هي تعمل ايه؟ تزود الاجريجيت اوتبوت. معايا؟ لما بقول على any policy monetary or physical it's effective وقف، معناها نجحت في هدفها اللي هو مين؟ طالما انا بتكلم على الاكسبانشنري يبقى هو هدفها ان هي تزود واي. يبقى كأني بقول بالظبط monetary policy can increase y only if I reacts to change in R. بص معايا بقى، البوينت دي مهمة. يبقى المونetary policy is successful if and only if the decrease of interest rate can increase investment. يعني لو قل الانترست ريت ده ما أثرش على الانفستمنت ولا الواي هتزيد ولا أي حاجة، يبقى البوليسيز monetary policies ineffective. مظبوط؟ يبقى هنرجع تاني هنا نتكلم عن الايه؟ الsensitivity or the elasticity of investment function. مظبوط؟ If firms sharply increase the number of investment projects when the interest rate falls, expansionary monetary policy works well at stimulating the economy and vice versa. خد بالك هنا الحالة معكوسة عن حالة الفيزيكال بوليسي. لو تفتكر الفيزيكال بوليسي كل ما كان الانفستمنت function sensitive to interest rate كان الكراودنج اوت افكت هو اللي كبير، ومعناها ان السياسة الفيزيكال بوليسي اقل فاعلية. خلاص، it's more ineffective. هنا العكس. when the interest rate is sensitive when the investment is sensitive to interest rate, so the decrease in interest rate will increase investment, which will increase Y, and the monetary policy will be more effective. يبقى أنا هنا محتاجة أو عايزة الانفستمنت function to be sensitive or elastic to change in interest rate. Okay? In other words, the effectiveness of monetary policy depends negatively on the slope of investment function. عارفين طبعا السلوب عكس الايه؟ عكس الالاستيستي. عارفين من الايه؟ من الترم الاول لما كان الكيرف ستيب يعني السلوب بتاعه كبير، ده معناه ان هو كان ايه؟ inelastic and vice versa. خلاص؟ يبقى effectiveness of monetary policy depends negatively on the slope of investment function, depends positively on the sensitivity of investment function. If it's nearly vertical معناها ان هي perfectly inelastic, indicating very little responsiveness of investment to interest rate. يبقى الايه؟ monetary policy is ineffective. معايا؟ again and again, if the investment is sensitive to interest rate, the monetary policy is effective. The expansionary monetary policy is effective. The expansionary fiscal policy is ineffective, and vice versa. Okay? معايا؟ Contractionary monetary policy. A decrease in money supply aimed at decreasing aggregate output. Decrease in money supply will increase interest rate. This will decrease investment, so Y will decrease. The decrease in income will decrease demand for money, which will decrease interest rate. Again, the decrease in interest rate much more less than increase in interest rate. يبقى في النهاية الانترست ريت هيجرى له ايه؟ هيزيد طبعا، لكن the increase in interest rate will be less than its increase if money demand did not decrease. يعني لو الشانل ده ما كملش خالص والماني ديماند ما قلتش، كان يبقى الزيادة في الانترست ريت اكتر منها دلوقتي. Therefore, if I is sensitive to change in R, monetary policy is effective. Fiscal policy is ineffective and vice versa. لازم يكون ايه؟ لازم يكون واضح معاك. Okay? If I is insensitive to change in R, so fiscal policy is more effective than the monetary policy. طيب, now we have finished fiscal policy, expansionary and monetary, and we have finished monetary policy, expansionary and contractionary. Okay? يبقى we have finished fiscal policy and monetary policy, سواء كانوا expansionary or contractionary. Let's now talk about the policy mix. خلاص? What we mean by policy mix? Policy mix means fiscal and monetary together. Fiscal policy and monetary policy together. Okay? Expansionary policy، يبقى أنا بتكلم على expansionary policy أقصد بيها إيه؟ expansionary fiscal and expansionary monetary policy، اللي هي بقى يبقى التولز بتاعتها إيه؟ an increase in government spending and increase in money supply together، أو or an increase in money supply and decrease in taxes together، net taxes together. بتكلم على contractionary policy، a decrease in money supply and decrease in government spending, or decrease in money supply and an increase in net taxes together. Okay? يبقى أنا في الجزء ده هتكلم عن mix between expansionary mix between monetary and fiscal policy together. The policy mix is combination of monetary and fiscal policies in use at a given time. Both government spending and money supply can be increased at the same time. An increase in G، ركز معايا بقى جدا، an increase in G will increase Y and increase R. ايه الكلام ده؟ An increase in government spending، افتكر بقى معايا كده، مركز، An increase in government spending will increase aggregate expenditure which will increase Y. أهي أول واحدة. An increase in Y will increase the demand for money which will increase interest rate. So as a final effect, expansionary fiscal policy will increase both Y and R. ركز بقى عشان كل الجزء اللي جاي بتاع البوليسي ميكس بيتكلم على الافكت اوف ذا بوليسي ميكس اون Y and R. معايا يا شباب مش تبقى فاهم احنا بنعمل ايه. الجزء اللي جاي عايز اعرف الافكت اوف بوليسي ميكس، يعني الافكت اوف physical and monetary policy on both Y and R. طلعنا اهو اول واحده اهو gradually واحده واحده عرفنا ان الاكسبانشنري physical policy خلاص اللي هي an increase in G or decrease in T طبعا will increase both Y and R. طب expansionary monetary policy هتعمل ايه؟ an increase in money supply will decrease R على طول اهي. an increase in money supply will decrease R. This will increase investment which will increase Y. So expansionary monetary policy will increase Y and decrease R. Okay? Therefore, if the government wanted to increase Y without changing R, it could do so by increasing both G and money supply by the appropriate amount. بص كده النقطة دي خطيرة. If the government needs to increase Y to expand the economy without affecting private investment, without affecting interest rate, هتعمل ايه؟ هتعمل expansionary fiscal policy and expansionary monetary policy at the same time. كويس؟ هتعمل expansionary fiscal policy and expansionary monetary policy at the same time. تقوم Y increases without affecting R, without affecting investment. واضحة؟ يبقى لو الحكومة عايزة تزود Y يعني تعمل expansionary policy لكن ما تأثرش على الانفستمنت، ما تأثرش على الانترست ريت أصلا، يبقى it should do expansionary fiscal and monetary policy at the same time. طيب expansionary fiscal plus expansionary monetary policy تعالوا نشوف كده. expansionary fiscal policy ده اتفقنا an increase in Y increase in R together. expansionary monetary policy an increase in Y and decrease in R. تعالوا نبص بقى على الإفكت بتاعهم هما الاتنين. Y will increase for sure. Y will increase صح؟ لكن R هيحصل لها ايه؟ دي it depends which one has the increase in R is more than decrease in R, or decrease in R is more than increase in R, or the increase equals the decrease in R. يبقى الإفكت على ال R inconclusive. We cannot tell if R will increase or decrease. ده إيه according للأماونت اللي هيزيد بيها الإيه الماني سبلاي والأماونت اللي هنزيد بيها إيه G. يبقى لو أنا قلت لك what's the effect of both expansionary physical and expansionary monetary policy هتقولي الإفكت على ال Y is very clear. Y should increase. لكن ال R the effect on R is inconclusive. We cannot tell if R increases or decreases. Contractionary physical and expansionary monetary policy. Contractionary physical policy decrease in both Y and R. Expansionary monetary policy Y will increase but R will decrease. يبقى تعالوا نبص الإفكت عليهم كلهم كده. Y decrease and increase. يبقى الإفكت on Y inconclusive. It depends. اوكي لكن R should decrease. فهمت بنعمل ايه؟ طيب هزود لك حاجة كمان علشان لما نكمل دلوقتي. If Y increases this will affect positively on consumption. معروفة consumption is a function of Y. So when Y increases consumption should increase. طيب دي حاجة. امال R بتأثر على ايه؟ if R decreases مثلا investment should increase. يبقى على طول R بتأثر على I، Y بتأثر على C او الكونسومشن. اوكي، بص بقى معايا وركز كده. الجدول ده بيعمل ايه؟ بيتكلم عن كل الاوبشنز، خلاص، عن كل البوسيبيليتيز of a change of monetary and physical policy together. انا عندي كده، بص كده، عندي two columns فيهم all the variables. تعالى بص على the first cell in the first column، شمال طبعا، ببص شمال مش يمين. هلاقي expansionary physical policy with expansionary monetary policy. خلاص، يبقى ال variables اللي انت شايفها دي في الاول في the first cell in first column left بتتكلم عن الايه؟ ال effect of expansionary physical and expansionary monetary policy together. عرفنا ال expansionary physical Y and R will increase. Expansionary monetary Y will increase but R will decrease. So Y should increase كده كده، يبقى Y should increase. R could increase or decrease، يبقى الإفكت عليها ايه؟ مش واضح، ده اللي بياخد الايه؟ question mark. طيب Y will increase so consumption should increase، ما فيهاش كلام. R has the effect on R inconclusive، يبقى ال effect of investment inconclusive. خلاص؟ طيب تعالى ننقل على السيل اللي تحتها. expansionary physical policy and contractionary monetary policy. expansionary physical policy an increase in Y and R. contractionary monetary policy decrease in Y and increase in R. يبقى ال final effect Y we cannot tell if it increases or decreases. R should increase. تمام؟ Y طالما Y we cannot tell يبقى consumption we cannot tell. اوكي؟ R should increase يبقى investment should decrease. كويس كده؟ طيب تعالى نبص على العمود اللي جنبه، الكولون اللي جنبه، السيل اللي فوق. contractionary physical policy and expansionary monetary policy. contractionary physical policy Y will decrease, R will decrease. expansionary monetary policy Y will decrease expansionary Y will increase, R will decrease. يبقى الفاينل افكت Y could increase or decrease، يبقى الافكت عليها inconclusive، لكن R should decrease. R should decrease so investment may or should increase. طالما Y الافكت على Y inconclusive يبقى ال consumption كمان الافكت on consumption inconclusive as well and so on. خلاص، عرفنا الدنيا شغالة ازاي، عرفنا ازاي هنعملهم مع بعض. مهمة قوي عشان بتيجي اسئلة زي ما هنشوف بعد شوية كتير على الايه على الجزء ده. طيب بص معايا كده على ملاحظة مهمة. if the government wants to favor private investment on government spending. معايا تاني، if the government wants to favor private investment over government spending، يعني عايزة تزود البرايفت investment. خلاص، ده هدفها ان هي to increase to push up the private investment على حساب ال government spending. يبقى الحالة اللي فوق دي خلاص هي اللي عايزينها. يبقى عايزين نعمل ايه؟ contractionary physical policy and expansionary monetary policy. عرفت منين؟ عشان الكيس دي هتقلل ال interest rate and increases the investment. خلاص، يبقى if the government aims to increase private investment or favors private investment on government spending يبقى it should do contractionary physical policy and expansionary monetary policy. في الحالة دي هتقلل G والايه investment will increase. طيب if بقى government wants to favor government spending on private investment و over private investment. اللي هيحصل تعمل ايه؟ expansionary fiscal policy and contractionary monetary policy. ليه؟ باين عندك اهو علشان ده will increase interest rate and decrease private investment. يبقى government spending versus investment spending. ده البوينت اللي كنت بتكلم فيها دلوقتي. A policy mix that consists of a decrease in G and an increase in supply of money اللي هي ايه؟ اللي هي contractionary fiscal policy and expansionary monetary policy. This is favors private investment spending over government spending. The reason is that thus the increased money supply and the falling government spending cause the interest rate to fall, which leads to an increase in planned investment. The opposite is true for a mix that consists of an expansionary fiscal policy and a contractionary monetary policy. This mix favors government spending over investment spending. Such a policy has the effect of increasing government spending and reducing the money supply. Tight money and expanded government spending drives the interest rate up and the planned investment down. اوكي، يلا معانا بقى نحل شوية أسئلة عشان نتأكد ان احنا فهمنا اللي ايه، فهمنا المحاضرة كويس. خلي بالك المحاضرة دي مهمة. First, expansionary policies are designed to stimulate the economy by increasing aggregate output. Explain why expansionary fiscal policy and expansionary monetary policy have opposite effects on the interest rate despite having the same goals of increasing aggregate output. يبقى أنا مطلوب مني إن أنا أعمل إيه؟ أشوف ال effect of expansionary fiscal policy وال effect of expansionary monetary policy. خلاص هوضح له إن الاتنين بيؤدوا لزيادة Y، لكن واحدة بتزود R والتانية بتقلل R. تعالوا نبتدي كده بمين؟ بال expansionary fiscal policy. An increase in G will increase aggregate expenditure which will increase Y. An increase in Y will increase the demand for money, so interest rate will increase. يبقى ال expansionary fiscal policy will increase both Y and R. لكن ال expansionary monetary policy, an increase in money supply will decrease R, which will increase investment, so Y will increase. يبقى ال expansionary monetary policy هتزود Y لكن هتقلل R. بس كده. Second, for each of the following scenarios, tell a story and predict the effect of the equilibrium level of aggregate output and the interest rate. عايز اعرف الافكت في كل حاجة جاية، كل سيناريو each سيناريو على ايه؟ Y and R. A. If the central bank was tightening money policy in an attempt to slow the economy، قلل الماني سبلاي يعني contractionary monetary policy. Government pass a substantial cut in the individual income tax at the same time. يعني taxes decreases. يبقى ايه؟ expansionary fiscal policy. يبقى انا معايا ايه؟ معايا contractionary monetary policy and expansionary fiscal policy. Contractionary monetary policy will decrease Y and then increase in R. expansionary fiscal policy هتعمل ايه؟ will increase R and increase Y. يبقى انا عايزه بقى الفاينل افكت على مين؟ على ال R وال Y. اكيد الايه؟ interest rate will increase for sure، لكن الافكت على Y inconclusive. It could decrease or increase. اوكي واضحه؟ يبقى انا اجيب لك سؤال زي ده واجيب لك multiple choice واقول لك R will increase and Y will decrease. R will increase and Y will be مثلا constant and so on. وتختار انت ان ال R will increase, the effect of Y will inconclusive. It could increase or decrease. معايا؟ a tax cut assuming that the central bank holds fixed. مفيش monetary policy لكن عندي ايه؟ expansionary fiscal policy, a tax cut. طيب a decrease in T. هتعمل ايه decrease in T؟ decrease in T will increase consumption. صح؟ an increase in consumption will increase aggregate expenditure. So Y will increase. Okay? Y will increase. This will increase demand for money which will increase R. خلاص يبقى Y will increase R will increase. بس خد بالك عشان يمكن دي أول مرة أقولها في المحاضرة إن الإفكت of T بيوصل للواي من خلال الكونسومشن. خلاص through the consumption. KC. The government raised taxes at the same time the central bank is performing an expansionary monetary policy, which means that there is contractionary fiscal policy and expansionary monetary policy. تعال نشوف كده. contractionary fiscal policy an increase in T هيعمل ايه؟ will decrease consumption, so aggregate expenditure will decrease, Y will decrease and R will decrease as well. Okay. طيب يبقى expansionary يبقى contractionary fiscal policy هتقلل plus Y and R. خلاص. on the other side we have expansionary monetary policy يبقى Y will increase, R will decrease. So the final effect R should decrease, but the effect on Y will be inconclusive. We cannot tell if Y increases or decreases. يلا the last question. Conditions in country A led to a sharp drop in consumer confidence and a drop in consumption. Assume that the central bank holds the money supply constant. يبقى الإفكت هيبقى على ال consumption and investment. Plus consumption and investment will decrease. ده هيعمل ايه؟ This will decrease aggregate expenditure and decrease income. Okay? This is the end of this lecture. See you soon in the last lecture إن شاء الله.